Good evening, everyone. I'm Alicia Williams, and this is EdTech News. Tonight, we will be running a special series called Inspector Gadgets, Technology and Crime. A Bentonville, Arkansas man is behind bars following charges of first-degree murder after a man was found dead in his hot tub. 31-year-old Andrew Bates called 911 on November 22, 2015, and told Bentonville police that his friend, Victor Paris Collins, 47, was dead in the hot tub on his back patio. He told police that Collins and two other friends had been watching a Razorback football game the night before. After the game and several drinks, they had decided to get in the hot tub. Bates claims that is where he had left Collins when he went to bed around 1 a.m. Bates reported when he awakened several hours later, he found Collins face down in the hot tub. When detectives arrived on the scene, they were immediately suspicious, finding several blood splatters in the vicinity of the hot tub. They also noted that the hose had been pulled out, and the deck appeared to have been sprayed down in spite of freezing temperatures. One of the gadgets in Bates' smart home was an Amazon Echo device. Initial attempts to access the recordings from Bates' Echo for evidence were declined by Amazon, stating this was a violation of First Amendment rights. Bates himself finally agreed to give police access to the recordings, which ultimately gave investigators nothing to go on. However, other smart devices led to Bates' arrest and eventual conviction. Review of his smartphone records revealed a number of calls that were made during the time frame that Bates was reported to have been asleep. In the end, it was his smart water device that provided the evidence authorities needed to nail him. During the hours that Bates was supposed to have been in bed, the data gathered showed that 50 gallons of water were used between 1 and 2 a.m. Another 90 gallons were used between 2 and 3 a.m. compared to only 10 gallons used earlier in the evening. The investigation concluded that this was consistent with the deck having been sprayed down. Smart devices in Bates' smart house played a major role in putting this not-so-smart criminal behind bars. Our second story comes to us tonight from Connecticut, where more smart tech gadgets contributed to the nailing of yet another man convicted of first-degree murder. Following the shooting death of Connie DeBate, her husband, Richard DeBate, told police that a masked intruder with a Van Diesel voice shot his wife dead. When police arrived to the couple's home, they found Connie dead, shot twice in the head, and Richard zip-tied by his arm and leg to a chair. He alleged that a masked assailant had captured him, and though he had tried to warn his wife when she returned home from the gym, the assailant had captured her as well and had wrestled a gun away from her and shot her. The crime scene investigation did not find evidence consistent with his story. Rather, investigators were able to put together a 50-page warrant that included a minute-by-minute timeline of the evening based on evidence gathered from various smart devices in the home. Digital fingerprints were gathered from alarm sensors, Facebook, cell phones, and even Connie DeBate's Fitbit, which showed that she had walked 1,217 feet between 9:18 and 10:10 a.m., an hour after her husband alleged she had been killed. Our final story comes to us from Middletown, Ohio, where on February 8, 2017, Ross Compton watched his $400,000 home go up in flames. Compton told dispatchers he had been able to narrowly escape his burning home with some clothes and other belongings, his computer, and the charger to his medical device. After gathering 15 items together, he used his cane and broke a window, then hurled the bags out, narrowly escaping as he rushed out of the burning house. Fire Chief Jeff Spaulding said he was suspicious, citing that was a lot of effort for someone who had to have a pacemaker and an external heart pump to survive. Spaulding also said he could smell gasoline at the scene and wondered how he could make an arson charge stick. Compton's pacemaker became the key to corroborating how much exertion Compton had at the time of the fire. Investigators were given a search warrant and obtained the pacemaker data. A cardiologist reviewed this, and based on his review, Compton was indicted, with the doctor's interpretation of the pacemaker readings indicating that he could not possibly have done what he claimed to have done when trying to escape the fire. All three men in tonight's special report, besides pleading innocent, have one thing in common. Digital devices may have put them behind bars and etched them in criminal history as some of the first perpetrators busted by the smart devices. Plenty more will surely follow because connected devices we use for convenience, entertainment, and health can also contradict our alibis and expose our lies. Smart cars, fridges, doorbells, watches, phones, Fitbits, sneakers, televisions, gaming consoles, coffee makers, navigation devices, and yes, even pacemakers, all can monitor, record, and be used as evidence. Brian Jackson, a criminal justice scholar at the Rand Corporation, said that some police departments, especially smaller ones, are struggling to keep up the pace with technology. He also warned that technology is outpacing our debate over privacy. The general public isn't aware of the full capabilities, Jackson says. So some takeaway lessons from tonight's report. First, if you plan to commit murder, you might want to turn off your smart gadgets. 2, if you plan to commit arson, well, it probably might not be advisable to turn off your pacemaker, but you might at least want to go for a jog during the time period that you claim to have been escaping a burning building. And 3, better yet, just don't commit murder or arson. Certainly, the future of criminal investigations will have the advantage of information available through connected technology. The ethics of obtaining the information and the admissibility of this in courts under the Constitution is likely to be at the forefront of future news reports. Tonight's broadcast of EdTech News has been brought to you by ETSU ELPA Cohort 172. Thanks so much for joining us for this special edition of EdTech News.